donations, so we thank you. See, that's so nice. My name is Jenny Laughlin, and I'm the president of Richardson Area Democrats. And I am so excited about this crowd tonight. Somebody told me about 2 years ago, Jenny, your love language is a good crowd. And I just got to say, I'm feeling the love tonight, so thank you so much. I think my thing just went off, Preston. There we go. I'm back on. So I was told by my data person that we have about 35 brand new people here tonight. So if you are brand new, would you raise your hand up? Look at this. Look at this. That is a really good crowd. I hope that you all enjoy it tonight. I'm also very excited to see people that I have not seen in months. There are people here that have never been to this location. We've been here for 6 months. It's been a long time since I've seen Jan. It's been a long time since I've seen Susan Cooper. She's here tonight. Matt Lagos is here tonight. And I'm just happy that I've got so many old friends in the crowd. Mario's here. Good to see you. Now, we also have people that are here all the way from Houston and Austin, and they are going to be speaking to us tonight. So I'm going to ask if everybody, I know that everybody comes for a lot of different reasons, and some people come because they really like just being able to have a place that they can enjoy conversation and talk to other Democrats. But some of the people that are here for the program and want to hear the speakers, want to learn something new. So I'm going to ask if you would please just keep it down. All of the conversations should stop now, and we can just get going with every conversation should stop now. There we go. Okay. We have got an exciting program tonight. It has been exceptionally warm, as you have noticed. And so with that comes concerns about your energy bills, your environment, what's going on. It becomes very urgent that we have climate change and that. And beyond that, when it's 100 degrees and no rain for months, we are worried about our water. So tonight we're going to have 3 really great speakers that are here to talk about what we can do about that, what they can do about that. Elected. So before I get started with that, I want to give a shout out to some people that are here tonight. Councilman Dan Barrios is in the house. Dan is running for the for Congressional District 32. Thank you. Our esteemed mayor and his wife, Mayor Amir Omar and Alika, are here tonight. Thank you for coming. Another candidate is our friend Zach Herbert, who is running for, yes, give it up there. He is running for House District 112. And I think that Orlando Lopez is on his way. If he's not here, he is running for House District 33, which is real close to here, just the other side of Custer. I also are there any other candidates that are here tonight? Okay. I also want to welcome the State Democratic Executive Committee, committee members. Nate Clark is here. He's our CD 32, SDEC 32 representative, and Angel Guzman is here. Where are you, Angel? There you are. Angel is in SDEC 4, which is just here in Plano. Also, the county party chair in Rockwall is here. Came all the way over. Susie Stansel came to see us tonight. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to start with one. I want to introduce you guys and give a shout out to the former members of the Leadership Richardson program. We will hear more about that, but we give a scholarship to that program for our members, RAD members that go to that program. And we have several of them here tonight. Justin Neff is here. Destiny Herndon De La Rosa is here somewhere. Destiny, thank you. There she is at the back. And is Teresa, I have got Teresa Douglas. I never think of her last name. Teresa Douglas, she and her husband owned Four Bullets where we met forever. She was in the program and she's here tonight. And Reed Robinson may be here. If he's not, he'll be here soon. But we've given 5 of these scholarships away before, but we are tonight going to award one to a new person who is going, a RAD member that's going through the program, and I'm going to have Justin come up and introduce her.
Well, good evening, Richardson area Democrats. So, my name's Justin Neff. I'm one of your RAD board members and writer of the Richardson Review, keeping you informed about local government. As Jenny said, I'm here to talk to you about Leadership Richardson tonight. Leadership Richardson is a 10-month leadership development program put on by our Richardson Chamber of Commerce that strives to grow leaders who build bridges and solve complex issues in our local community. It covers business and economic development, social services, health and wellness, public safety, and so many other aspects of our local community. I want to stress how important it is that we get involved in our local community. Local government needs our voices and our perspectives to have a seat at the table. It's vitally important, and I encourage you to get involved and apply for Leadership Richardson. Next spring is when applications open. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to any of the LR graduates in the room later. As Jenny mentioned, 4 years ago, RAD introduced the Joel Montfort Scholarship to support our members going through the Leadership Richardson program. Joel Montfort founded our organization, and so we started this scholarship in his honor. As some of you may remember that Teresa Douglas and myself were awarded last year's Joel Montfort Scholarship, and I want to say thank you to our members. If you're a patron member, it's your donations that help support this scholarship, and if you're not a patron member, we would appreciate you becoming a member, and if you are a patron member, please remember to renew your membership so we can continue to offer this scholarship and support RAD members getting involved in our local community. Tonight, I am so excited to announce this year's winner of the Joel Montfort Scholarship. She is a former Dallas County Assistant District Attorney, former Dallas Assistant City Attorney, current director of the Southern Methodist University Small Business Trademark Clinic, and managing attorney for her practice, Walter Legal PLLC. I also know her as a fierce advocate for common sense local governance. She is the one, the only, Candace Walter. Come on up, Candace.
Thank you so much.
And here is your scholarship check. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. My dad's taking our picture.
Where is he? Oh, there he is.
Okay, thank you so much.
Congratulations, Candace. Thank you.
Just so you know, I don't know if he said this, but that is a $500 scholarship that we're giving there. So it's a significant amount towards the amount that they pay, and I really appreciate you coming tonight and being a part of that program. Look forward to what you're going to do. We always start our meetings with a local nonprofit. And the reason we do that is because, especially since November of 24, you'd be forgiven for sometimes having your hope waver and wondering whether there is anything good happening in the world. But we know that there are local nonprofits that are doing all kinds of good things. And as you get to know them, you get to know, hey, I might want to get involved with that. I want to support that group. So tonight we are going to have Kim Whalen, who is the founder of the North Texas School Garden Network. I wrote it down. I put my phone away. Sorry. But thank you so much for coming. She's going to tell us all about it. Thank you.
And thank you for not making me use my teacher voice, because I can do it. I can clear this room with my whistle, so just be warned about that. The North Texas School Garden Network is growing stronger communities in North Texas through garden-based learning, and we work with educators to bring garden-based learning to their schools. I have a little bit of backstory. I am a 7th-generation farmer. My mom was an herb gardener, but that kind of counts. And so I also was a public school teacher. I retired from teaching. I did my tour of duty, and I started a school garden in Lake Highlands in RASD. I'm a graduate of Richardson High School as well. So go, yeah, I know, Arapahoe and West. And I am a Fed of funky East Dallas. I kind of moved that way. But my background is in education, but also I have a passion for the land. My grandfather taught me to farm and grow food and connect with food and healthy food and all those things. And I carry that with me. It starts when you're little, and impacting the littles is what creates change. When I first started 15 years ago in the school garden business, I was always the person outside and no one could find me. And so when parents wanted a school garden, they came to me naturally. But there wasn't a lot of work happening here in North Texas. So I went and worked with national organizations like Slow Food USA, the Whole Kids Foundation, Kids Gardening, American Heart Association got us going and helped us move along. I'm also grateful for Grow North Texas, which does a bunch of urban ag, and also Rick Wells from McKinney, who has the Seed Project Foundation. They got us started. We formed the North Texas School, my company's called Grow Garden Grow, but I found a need that, yeah, woo, we have some Grow Garden Grow friends here. I found the need, and we work with like 12,000 kids a month in 4 different school districts, so it's pretty, we have a lot of friends. But the formation of the North Texas School Garden Network came along because people have lost touch. How many of you have a garden in your yard? Okay, how many of your parents had gardens in their yard? There should be more. Grandparents? Like that, we've lost touch with agriculture. And so it's really important to teach the littles how to grow food and how to care for the planet and each other. The North Texas School Garden Network has 750 school teacher members, and we support them with micro grants. We support them with going to different conferences. We're also working with Texas Health Network, Cook's Children, United to Learn, and we're forming a North Texas School Garden Educator Certification Program. So that's what we're working is behind the scenes and trying to grow this movement in North Texas. The school garden movement is 30 years old. We are way behind, but we're making up for that by getting people together. There's a couple studies that are really important that I want you to hear about. If you have children or grandchildren or you're involved with littles, it's said that children in elementary school today spend 7 minutes of unstructured outdoor play. That's crazy. They're in front of screens, their parents are in front of screens, and kids don't go outside. We feel like school garden is an answer to that. There was also a neuroscientist who studied children over the years and watched trends, and things would bounce along the bottom line: depression, obesity, mental health issues. In 2010, it shot up, and it's never plateaued. It was phones, iPhones, screens, technology. It's not a good thing for children. And then there's a Flourish study that just came out like a month ago, and it was by Baylor and Harvard. And the Flourish study looked at happiness, life satisfaction, physical, mental health, meaning and purpose, character, virtue, close relationships. And it was done a worldwide study, and it's going to be a long-term study that they're doing. But they discovered something pretty alarming, that young children around the world are reporting lower levels of well-being than older generations. Did you hear that? Like, that's supposed to be like their happy time. School gardens is an answer to that. The need is strong for outdoor education, connecting kids to nature, each other. School gardens are the answer, and we're teaching people how to do it. How you can support, you can volunteer your time. Come to a meetup. We have meetups every quarterly. Follow us on socials, the NTX School Garden Network. Support school gardens in your community. We need funding for professional development, mini grants, and supporting the North Texas School Garden Summit for spring 2028. I also have some little QR codes. Farmer Kim, if you're on Substack, check out Farmer Kim Field Guide. It gives you all the things you need to know about growing and planting and school gardens. And on our website, there's a link to, they're going to share that with everybody. So thank you for listening. Go out and support kids getting outside and being in the garden.
So as Kim said, you can find, we are going to have her website listed on our website, rad.vote, under nonprofits. We have all the nonprofits that have spoken at RAD here and listed on that so that you can follow up, find out information about them, and donate, get your time in there, however you can support them. So, before we get into the next part of our program, I want to ask Sophia to come up and talk about the Young Democrats.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sophia Zimmerman. I'm the Communications Director for Collin County Young Dems. We are hosting our first fundraiser Saturday, September 5th at 7 p.m. It's an arcade night. We would love your support. You can find us on Facebook, or you can find us at Collin YDS on Instagram. Thank you.
True to her word, she said it wouldn't take a minute. There you go. That's a good group. She's a good girl. Young woman. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say. Yes. So we're going to start the main portion of our program tonight. Do you know what I forgot? I've got to stop before we do that. I just looked back there and remembered that I forgot. When I introduced our candidates, I forgot to tell you that they have things that they're doing. Zach Herbert has turfs that he needs people to pick up. Those turfs, and believe me, this is not like intrusive, invasive stuff. You walk and put the flyer on the door. It's got a little hole. It goes on the doorknob, and you walk on. You don't have to knock on the door. He's having an ice cream social on Sunday, I believe, and it is at 3 o'clock. Is that right? 3 o'clock at Mimosa Park. So if you can join him, do. And if you can go and help get that word out so that more people do join him, please do that. He's got those turfs. Dan Barrios is doing call time on Monday nights. They're phone banking. If you can get in touch with the people that are waving back there, they've got things that they need you guys to help with. We don't have to be out in the sun. If you can be out in the sun, that's great. But if you can't, then there are things to do as well. Get a sign. All of us in this room pretty much are in CD 32. That's Dan's territory, and we need to get his name out everywhere. So, sorry, I didn't get that done when I introduced you guys. Now we're going to start the main part of our program, and I am going to introduce, the first portion is on energy, and that is going to be Representative Jon Rosenthal, who is running for the Railroad Commissioner. And as the saying goes, the Railroad Commissioner has nothing to do with railroads and everything to do with the oil and gas industry and regulating that. Jon is eminently qualified to work this. His opponent is not. So we are in deep need of electing him to this office, and I'm going to let Jon tell you why.
Thank you. Holy cow, y'all are beautiful. What a crowd. Richardson area Democrats, how are you doing? Are you all ready to kick some ass in this election cycle? Hell yeah, so am I. So I'm State Representative Jon Rosenthal. I currently represent Northwest Harris County in the Texas House, but I'm actually a career oil field engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer from the oil field industry. I worked in that industry for like 25 years. And then, and actually I was so happy with my little life. I really was. But then 2016 happened. Anybody remember that election and how that felt that night? So that seriously affected me deeply, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I became politically active in 2017. I started an indivisible group in Northwest Harris County. Any indivisible volunteers in here? Let me tell you what you people do. So when I decided to run for office in 2018 in a deep red district in Cypress, Texas, if any of you know Cypress, people are like, you ran as a Democrat in Cypress? Me and a bunch of you volunteers, a couple hundred people signed up to knock doors, make phone calls, reflect social media posts. We defeated a 24-year GOP incumbent in Cypress, Texas in 2018 to flip that district from red to blue. And now I'm in my 4th term in the Texas House. Deep breath. Man, y'all are amazing. Holy crap. Okay, so people say, after all that work, flip a Texas seat. Actually, there were 12 of us, if you remember, that flipped seats in the Texas House in 2018. We had a great freshman class with people like James Tallarico and Vicki Goodwin. And from this area, Julie Johnson, right? So people are like, well, why would you leave it, what is now a safe seat, to run for a commission that most people have never heard of, right? Because it's called railroads. And people are like, why do I care about railroads? It's the oil and gas industry. It's the backbone of the Texas economy. It's also the most consequential environmental position in the country. But here's the real motivation is, after Winter Storm Uri, did anyone here freeze their ass off in their own damn house in 2021? And you remember what that felt like? And legislators, we're in session, legislators all over the state stuck in home, and we were out for like, I don't know, 10 days or something. We finally come back into the Texas House. And I'm like, okay, here's a big surprise. The only mechanical engineer in the legislature did a bunch of research, and I have solutions for you. And I went to the chairman of Energy Resources, who at the time was Dan Goldman. Anybody know this jerk? Dan Goldman. He's from the, all right. And I said, that winter storm cascade failure, people can talk about electric generation and all that. It was natural gas that froze. And that was the core problem. And I said, okay, so we got common sense solutions. I've already talked with industry. I've got language for you. You don't even have to use my name. Like, I'm a Democrat in the Texas House of Representatives. Sometimes the way we get things done is by giving them the idea and let them pass the bill. And what did Goldman say to me? He said, we're not touching that. So listen, I'm oil field trash. I swore at him. I will not use the same language in this room full of beautiful, polite Democrats. But I'm like, the F you mean? We had literally hundreds of Texans die in this state. I had senior citizens freeze to death in their own houses in my district. And so I'm animated, and I'm like, so what are you going to do? He said, we're not touching that. The governor doesn't want us to touch it. Isn't it funny that the governor of Texas got $1 million campaign contribution from a natural gas company executive right after that session where they... So I was animated. I left that conversation, and in my head, I'm like, just you wait. I'm coming back to do something about this, and this is what that looks like. I am coming back to do something about it. So I'm told I don't have 3 hours to talk about the virtues of plugging zombie wells and ending flaring and going after produced water and all that stuff. You can go on the website and check it out. I did a lot of work there, and if you want to see policy, or you can call me, hit me up, I'll talk to you. Here's what you actually need to know. You have a qualified career professional who will go after those common sense solutions, who can't be bought by industry. So, you know, the oil and gas industry usually finances the campaigns of the railroad commissioners. What happened this time was somebody you may know beat the incumbent. So my opponent is a sweetheart named Beau French. This is one of the most, you know this already, right? One of the most extreme bigots in the state, one of the most notorious anti-Semites, Islamophobes. I don't care who you are. If you're not white and Christian nationalist like him, he thinks you should be deported. Think about how sweet it's going to be when this Jewish engineer sends that MF home in November. And we can do it. Like, listen, I was unopposed in the primary. Thank you all for voting for me. But Democrats are energized. Are you guys energized? Are you ready to win? Hell yeah. But here's what happened. Usually, when you have unopposed races on a large ballot, a lot of people skip that. Because, you know, I'm a data person, I'm an engineer. Technically speaking, when I went into the ballot box on day one of early voting and voted for myself, I walked out as the winner with 100% of the vote, right? The Republicans had 5 people in their primary. So here's the key. You all voted, all the Democrats in the state voted. I was less than 1% away from beating all 5 Republicans combined. And then they're going to put up against me someone who actually doesn't know anything about oil and gas and thinks his campaign platform is deport 100 million people. I've got Republican endorsements. I'm working on more, but actually one of the primary opponents on the Republican side endorsed me and was the only Republican to speak on stage at the Texas State Convention. Turns out the one who actually knows the business, 30 years of experience, would rather have someone who knows how to do the job than an extremist Nepo baby from Fort Worth, right? So this is the deal. We can totally win. We just got to get the vote out. We need everybody to participate in this. So I know you all are ready to fight. You need to bring everybody with you because we can totally win. And here's the last thing I'll say is you have got a badass statewide slate of candidates, right? With James Tallarico and Gina Hinojosa, Nathan Johnson, Sarah Eckhart, right? Clayton Tucker right here. And a rising tide lifts all the ships. And so we are already talking amongst ourselves, and we are targeting different areas of the state because it's our job to talk to those Republicans that are sick of the politics of hate and division. The Republicans that are sick of the crazy who are ready to return to sanity. And so I will be in rural and rural adjacent areas talking to energy workers, agriculture and livestock workers, you know, and people who understand that keeping your environment clean for your families, for your land, for your kids is not a partisan issue. It's become a huge deal for rural Republicans. So it's my job to narrow those margins in those rural areas, and let's get a bunch of Democrats across the finish line in November. Are you with me? I could literally stand up here all night and just look at you. You're so freaking beautiful. But I am going to introduce Clayton Tucker. I'm going to pass this to Clayton Tucker, who's our candidate for Ag Commissioner. The dude is a force of nature. He's going to help us win. I just want to introduce to you Clayton Tucker. Bring your drink.
Howdy. Ooh, I like that. Let's do it one more time, though. Howdy. Ooh, even better. Y'all are energized, I can tell. Or maybe it's the booze. So, my name is Clayton Tucker, and I'm running to be your Texas Agriculture Commissioner. Now, before I get going, I always like to ask folks 3 simple questions. I like to get to know people. So by a raise of hands, anyone here who is or was in agriculture? You had a farm, you had a ranch, a fantastic garden. Very nice. Hey, yeah, go, tell. So for folks who don't know, actually all these animal pictures, this is literally my donkey. His name is Peso. His mama's name was Penny, so you know it just went with the brand. And that's his birthday hat. But I am a farmer and rancher from Lampasas. If you're not quite sure where Lampasas is, if you can find the center of Texas, you can find Lampasas. We are equally far from everywhere else. And I'm also the secretary of the Texas Farmers Union. If you're not familiar with them, think of the Farm Bureau, but 2 big differences. One, the Farmers Union is extremely anti-monopoly, and we are anti-data center. By a raise of hands, any educators? You taught, work in administration, very, very nice. So my pre-political life, I was a kindergarten teacher. 15 boys, 5 girls, pure mayhem. Also great training for politics. One time I walk into a classroom, one kid vomiting here, another one peeing in a corner, and welcome to the Texas government. Lastly, last question, y'all, and this one's always the hardest. Very, very, very few people actually raise their hands with this one. So listen up. Do we have anyone here who likes to eat food? There you go. Think of this as the food commissioner, because the ag commissioner is really about food, land, and water. But the fight that we're in now is much bigger than just those things. I would say it's about the soul of our nation. Because really, if you think about the origins of our country, it is an organized people fighting organized money. Because every single right, liberty, and freedom any of us have is because of organized people. The American revolutionaries were the organized people. The British Crown and their monopoly, they were the organized money. So it goes from the revolutionaries, the abolitionists, the populists, the suffragettes, the civil rights marchers. Literally every single right, liberty, and freedom any of us have, from the right to vote to a right to a good wage to a right to have a job, is all because of organized people. And right now, organized money is coming for those rights. They are coming for our food, they're coming for our land, and they're coming for our water. Monopolies are destroying our agricultural system. They are making food expensive for everyone else. It's 1970. You go buy $1 worth of beef at your local grocery store. From that $1 worth of beef, my pawpaw, the cattleman, would have gotten 60 to 70 cents of that dollar. Nowadays, I get around 20. The only thing that's changed, we went from thousands of local companies down to 1, 2, or 3, or 4, depending on the exact industry. Tyson, JBS, Cargill, National Beef, John Deere, Bayer Monsanto. Those are the organized money. And also, it's increasingly BlackRock is getting more and more involved in these things because they are price gouging farmers. They're making it so expensive for young folks to farm. The average age of a farmer is 60 years old. What's going to happen in 10 years? And I have countless people, my generation. I know a lot of folks wonder how old I am. So I am the first candidate nominee from either political party to be born in the 1990s. Please don't hold that against me. And I'm 35 years old. There's a lot of folks my generation who want to get into ag, who want to stay in the ag. But ag is being in constant debt now. That is our agricultural system. To be a farmer is most likely to be in debt or to have a full-time job so you can have a full-time job. And again, it is the monopolies that are doing that. But they're also making our food very, very harmful for folks. You know, I was an agricultural researcher for a while and a water researcher as well with the National Science Foundation, studied how a bunch of other countries did their food system and their ag system. When I came back to the United States, I found myself allergic to a lot of processed foods. I suspect it's actually an allergy to glyphosate, to Roundup, because we're seeing this throughout our food system, and it's really harming a lot of folks. You remember when I mentioned, like, raise a hand to educators? There's a reason I did that, because the ag commissioner oversees school lunches, school meals. At public schools, we oversee the supply chains. And someone was talking earlier about community gardens. I think that's going to be absolutely critical, not just to our food security, but even for our children. There's another one little part of my resume that I usually forget to mention, is I founded a lot of community gardens, and I founded them predominantly in food deserts. And it was in the city of Killeen, and after a couple years, the city started calling us like, hey, we have these kids. They're getting into fights. They're not showing up for class. They're flunking out. Either we send them to juvie or we send them to y'all. And we would say, okay, bring them on over. The turnaround in those kids, just from working in the soil, from eating real food, not ultra-processed food, but real food they grew themselves, I can't even begin to explain and to demonstrate the change in those kids. Academically, emotionally, even spiritually, they stopped getting into fights. They showed up their class. They started passing their classes. They literally made up with the people they were fighting just through the act of gardening. Imagine if we turned every public school into a community garden. Imagine what that would do. Imagine what that would do for our kids, for our communities, and create that actual food sovereignty, that ability, that real, local control that's being taken away from us. And let's talk about the last bit, and that's water. Y'all, these data centers, if they are coming in the way they're coming in, by which I mean extremely irresponsibly, we're going to run out of water. We're also going to run out of power. We're going to run out of a lot. These things are extraordinarily dangerous the way they are being built right now, and frankly, also the way they're being used, right? So if they are being done irresponsibly, we could run out of water. There are places in Texas we are already running out of water. Sometimes it's due to Wall Street. Wall Street folks are literally pumping water out of our aquifers to sell it back to us. Other places like Corpus Christi, that was a couple months away from running out of water, they're still planning to build 3 data centers. Where they're going to get the water from? Yeah. And these things also could really jack up your power bills. One of the transmission lines they're building, here you've heard of 765s. You might have seen that on social media. Big, massive transmission lines. They're planning on 4 of them right now, with probably 12 more on the way. If one of those lines is built, your power bills go up by $100 to $200 a month. That's just one line. That is just one. And these things are also worse because when they are built into cities, they create cancer alleys. The one in Memphis, Tennessee, is being sued by the NAACP because they are creating a brand new cancer alley in that neighborhood. People are getting COPD who have never smoked in their lives. People are getting dementia and Alzheimer's that have no family history of it. People are getting cancer because there's also the noise. I mean, you got the pollution, the air pollution from those because they're backup generators, but the noise. Because imagine a vacuum cleaner that you hear all day, every day, all night, every night. And you know when a car drives by and that really big subwoofer and you kind of vibrate a little bit? Imagine that sound too. all day, every day, all night, every night. I was talking to this lady out in Granbury. She lived about a mile away from a data center, was having constant migraines. Constant. No amount of medicine will help her. Her kid was having constant ear infections as well. And they did everything they could. They ended up moving away, and they lost $10,000 because of that move. Oh, data centers, they will tank your property values, and they will never recover. So she moved away. Suddenly, all migraines gone, all ear infection gone. They are perfectly healthy. What do you think is moving literally right next to them now? Another data center. Because this is the deal. These things are not being done for us. I mean, they'll like try to say, oh, we're building this because y'all use social media. You use Netflix or Facebook. And that is just gaslighting. That is propaganda. I actually heard of a really funny thing. So I was talking to this old-time farmer, and he was just going out propaganda, and he's like, you know, next time someone says that, you should tell them, you should take your propaganda out to a ranch because that's where bull belongs. I thought it was funny. So there's a lot of issues with these things. And I'm telling y'all, people are really waking up to that. People are waking up to the amount of resources these things are taking and the fact of what are they being used for. I mean, we drove by multiple flock cameras just to get here. Those flock cameras, they will track where you go, when you go there, your bumper stickers. They'll connect to the Bluetooth on your phones. And it's not just law enforcement that gets that information, it's corporations too. It's probably other governments that can get it too. And none of us voted for this. But there's hope here because things are changing in Texas right now. They're changing two big ways. First off, this data center thing is waking folks up. I actually want to get one of my staffers, Lauren, to come up here. So we, as you can tell from our branding, we are not fans of the data centers. And we have shirts. And this is one of the things I think is very important for folks who really want to change in Texas, is this is an issue we need to lead on, that we need to own. Because Lauren, can you tell folks, like, what conversations have you had just because of wearing the Stop AI Data Center shirt?
Well, so oftentimes we're racing to events, and I don't know if you noticed, we're a little late because we're always at another event, but we have to stop at the restrooms, and like 9 times out of 10, we can't get out of a gas station without like a half an hour dissertation on AI data centers. So if you're trying to connect with people that you don't normally get to talk to, or you want to talk to some of your neighbors that you suspect have never wanted to talk politics with you because it may have very differed, get one of these AI data center, Stop AI Data Center signs, put it in your yard, and you don't even know the crazies are going to come talk to you. And I call them crazy because they've been crazy for a long time, but now they're on our side. So do try it.
And we also have bumper stickers. And I'm going to give a quick campaign update. I just wanted to let y'all know where we are. I'm going to be completely transparent with y'all because, you know, transparency in the Texas government, they haven't really gone hand in hand for quite a while. This is the strongest ad commissioner campaign that we have seen maybe ever. So we are the first campaign that records show for that have reached well over 5,000 donors. The average is 1,000. We are 5 times the average in number of individual donors. We actually hit this is becoming a national race now. Just today, all 50 states, we have supporters. We are getting, because we talk about these data centers all the time, we got 10,000 new followers on Facebook alone today. But most importantly, I mean, it's all about the people, right? It's those stories. You know, we go to places, and this will be one of my final stories, because I know we all want to get back to drinking, and so do I, is we meet thousands and thousands of people. We get hundreds of emails and phone calls and social media messages a day, and they're all the same. I was like, I have never voted for a Democrat in my life, but I'm voting for you. I have never voted for a Democrat since LBJ, but I'm voting for you. Both political parties suck, but I'm still voting for you. My personal favorite out of all of them is, hey, asshole, I guess we're on the same team now. So whether you are drinking a beer or you just have a glass of water, we need to do a cheers for ourselves because we are those organized people fighting that organized money. So to us, we can do this, but just remember this. Remember this. A divided people are a conquered people. We have to come together. This data center issue is our golden goose, is our golden egg. This is uniting people from the deep reds to the purples to the I don't have a color. This is the thing that we can use to get Texas back on the right path. And we need all of your support while doing it. We need your volunteer hours. We need your donations. Even if you're not supporting me, you support a local candidate. Support that local candidate. Do that. Everyone has to be involved. Many hands make light work. So please get involved and cheers to our movement.
Wow, can I hear it for them? Both of these go, yes. Man, these guys are the real deal. Now, I am going to ask, will you guys hang around? Because we may finish up here before 8:30, and I want everybody to be able to get some of these cute signs, these Stop AI data center signs, talk to these people, and find out how you can get involved. Hey, Orlando Lopez is here, HD 33. I have the distinct pleasure at this point of introducing you to Evgenia Spears. She is the water program coordinator for the Lone Star chapter of the Sierra Club. And that's the whole state, y'all. She came up from Austin for this. I had the pleasure and really just it was quite an amazing thing to hear. The Progress Texas Happy Hour had Evgenia on for an interview maybe a couple of months ago, I guess, maybe. They were talking about the water crisis down in Corpus Christi and that they were going to run out of water and how are we going to get water to them. They're on the ocean, all about desalination. It's all the things that you have wondered about, and she was talking about it. I don't think she's going to have time to talk about all of that tonight, but I would strongly urge you to go to Progress Texas and check out that interview. It is fascinating. And I said, I'd really love to have that woman come and talk to us, and she was wonderful enough to come. Thank you so much. Can't wait to hear what you got to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much for, okay. It's great to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Evgenia Spears, Texas Sierra Club. And if you haven't heard of the Sierra Club, we've been around since 1892. So for many, many years, we are the nation's largest and oldest environmental nonprofit organization. And we serve the mission. Our mission is to explore, enjoy, and protect the planet, and promote the responsible use of natural resources, and empower communities, regardless of their socio-demographic status, to advocate for their environmental resource, for the natural resources. And in Texas, so we, as I said, the largest organization, environmental nonprofit in the United States. So we have chapters in every state, and in Texas, our chapter is called Lone Star Chapter. And the state is big, right? So we have regional groups all around Texas in various regions. And tonight with me, I have the Dallas regional group. So we have a group here. So if you'd like to join the movement, join the Sierra Club, we have a table here with a lot of interesting resources. You can learn more about what it means to be Sierra Club member. But on my selfish part, I want to say that we need your help. So please stop by, explore the resources, and help us to advance our mission. At the Lone Star chapter of the Sierra Club, we focus on a variety of resource topics, issues like air quality, land conservation, clean energy, and the focus area that's the closest to me is, of course, water. Texas is having a lot of issues with water, and our water work ranges from water availability, water supply, to water quality, and everything in between. We follow discussions at the legislature, at regulatory spaces, but most importantly, what we are trying to do, what we are working to achieve is that to make sure that community voices are heard in the legislative spaces and in the regulatory spaces where important water-related decisions are made. So now that was a quick background. Just let's start with a quick show of hands. How many of you remember seeing Proposition 4 on the ballot last fall? Proposition 4 was about water, yes, yes. I see some hands, that's great. So Proposition 4 resulted from the passage of Senate Bill 7 and House Joint Resolution 7 last session. And then it made it to the ballot, and I'm about to talk about it some more. And over 70% of Texans approved it. Once Proposition 4 was approved, we unlocked a significant amount of funding for water infrastructure. Specifically, we unlocked $1 billion a year dedicated to water infrastructure in Texas. And that would be for 20 years. So we essentially talking about $20 billion for water infrastructure. So that's a great achievement. It's definitely a win for Texas because, as I mentioned, we have a lot of issues that are related to water. Our water resources are under significant pressure. Think about population. Texas is growing. I didn't check the most recent numbers, but I believe we're sitting at around 32 million people right now. And by 2080, so in about 50 years, we're expected to gain 20 more people. If you have more people, you will need more water. It's as simple as that. Then another issue that we're dealing with, and we've heard about it already, our economic growth. Texas is growing. The non-existent industries like oil and gas industry are not going anywhere. They're still feeling good and they're using our water resources. But we also just heard about data centers that are expanding without really regulations in place. We don't even fully understand the water impact of this large-scale emerging industry. Next factor would be climate change. Our climate is changing. We're facing hotter temperatures. Droughts are longer and more intense. Our precipitation no longer is predictable. It doesn't rain as it used to rain. Our aquifers are not recharging. So climate is a huge factor, not to mention the floods that destroy our precious water infrastructure. And speaking of infrastructure, another factor is aging infrastructure. Once water systems are built, they're not built forever. They need to be upgraded. And if you were curious, a recent report I read said that Texas is losing 186 billion gallons of water every year due to leaky pipes. That's 186 billion gallons of water. And if you want to put it in a perspective, it's enough to meet the annual municipal water needs of Austin, Fort Worth, El Paso, Laredo, and Lubbock combined. So that's a lot of water that we, as ratepayers, already paid to treat. It just never made it to our household. So we have a serious situation with the infrastructure as well. And so as Texas facing these challenges and to meet the growing demand for water in Texas, the state is considering various new water supply strategies to increase the volume of water available to Texans, basically to create the source of water that didn't exist before. And one of these strategies is seawater desalination, and this is exactly what I want to talk to you about today. So, has anyone heard about seawater desalination in the audience here? Yeah, cool, awesome. So seawater desalination is essentially what it sounds. It refers to removal of salts from ocean water. So we're basically making fresh water out of ocean water. And the very first time that seawater desalination as a term appeared in the state water plan was in 1961. When I say state water plan, it's a major water planning document, the main water planning document in Texas that is, the whole process is overseen by the Texas Water Development Board, and the goal is to make sure that we don't run out of water in the next 50 years. So the very first state water plan was developed in 1961 in response to the historic drought of the 1950s. And it included a recommended research on the feasibility of seawater desalination in Texas to increase the water supply. Then in 2007, seawater desalination projects started appearing in the list of recommended projects in the state water plan. Fast forwarding to today, and we currently have 8 seawater desalination recommended projects in Texas. 5 of them are proposed to be located in Corpus Christi, and the total price tag for all 8 projects is $11.2 billion. So just comparing it to the previous state water plan, they're published every 5 years. In 2022, there were 7 recommended projects, and the price tag was $2.8 billion. And since these projects are included in the state water plan, it means they're eligible for state funding, taxpayer money. And remember, we just talked about Proposition 4, right? And Proposition 4 is one of the sources for these projects. So the idea of seawater desalination is quite appealing because we are right here, we have easy access to the coast, but I want to urge you to think about some trade-offs when you're thinking about seawater desalination. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying we have to be responsible with it. We have to be, and let me try to convince you. So first, it's very energy intensive. Right, to remove salts. I'm not an engineer, I'm an environmental sociologist by training, but it takes a lot of energy to remove salts from ocean water. And specifically, and you can find it in the fact sheet available at our table, it takes up to 4,300 kilowatt hours to produce 1 acre-foot of fresh water. And that would equal roughly 3-4 months of power for a typical Texas household. So it's a lot of energy, and I just use the term acre-foot. So if you don't know, if you haven't heard of that term, so imagine, I mean, the college football season is coming up, right? Imagine that football field and mentally cover it in 1 foot of water. So that would be your acre-foot. Then, so that would equal about 326,000 gallons. It's also expensive, because we just discussed the price tag for those projects. Seawater desalination is expensive, and if you think about it being produced on the coast and then delivered to you here, I can guarantee your water bill will not go lower. It would be more expensive water. It's infrastructure heavy. We're talking about not only the treatment facility, but all the infrastructure that it requires, like intake pipes, discharge pipes, distribution lines, high energy power connections, and so on. And finally, impacts on Texas communities and on our economy have to be considered as well. Texas communities down the coast are frontline communities. They're seeing these proposals to be developed right in their neighborhoods. And as far as our economy, I will talk about environmental impacts of seawater desalination. So I also wanted to point out again that there is the fact sheet with the numbers behind what I'm saying, so I don't have them written here. So what does it take to remove salts from ocean water? We can talk about the process now. On one side, we have intake. We have to take seawater for treatment, right? And so the location of the intake pipe matters. If you picture, and I will ask you probably several times to picture the Texas coast, if a seawater desalination facility is built, it would be built on the land, right? And the easiest way for that seawater desalination facility to get a hold of seawater is to put the intake pipe into a bay or estuary. If you haven't heard of bays or estuaries, they're semi-enclosed water bodies that are sort of located in between the land and the Gulf. So think about Matagorda Bay, Corpus Christi Bay, Nueces Bay, Galveston Bay. We have a very, very unique bay system in Texas. But the great thing about our bays is that they're super abundant in aquatic life. They are home for federally endangered Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, and they're just the backbone of our coastal economy, backbone of our seafood industry, because those are really unique ecosystems. They're not as salty as the Gulf, and they're not as the mixing energy there is slower. So these are like really unique areas, aquatic areas down our coast. And so when the intake pipe is placed in the bay or estuary, we are risking to harm these ecosystems. And if you haven't heard new words today, I probably have a couple for you. So one of the situations that can happen if we draw water from a bay or estuary, we can encounter this what's so-called impingement. Impingement is when larger organisms in the bay, think of a turtle or a fish, larger fish, get stuck against the screen of the intake pipe due to the force with which water is drawn into facility. That can cause harm. Another situation that's harmful is entrainment. That refers to sucking in smaller creatures from the bay into the system. So think about fish larvae or plankton. Probably everyone thought about SpongeBob SquarePants, but that's allowed. It's a very important creature that we wanna make sure they're healthy. We wanna make sure they continue doing their super awesome job for our aquatic ecosystems. But if any organism is sucked into the treatment facility, they experience 100% mortality. So there was a recommendation, the legislature a number of years ago directed the Texas Parks and Wildlife and the Texas General Land Office to conduct a study to identify the best practices for seawater desalination in Texas. And I think they were just studying the feasibility of seawater desalination in Texas. And one of the important conclusions that came out of it was that intake should be placed 3 miles offshore in the Gulf, because that's where, and again, not aquatic biologist here, but that's where plankton population is already lower. That's where the density of aquatic species is not as high. So it's the safest way to put the intake pipe out 3 miles. But again, it's really expensive because you pay for that extra infrastructure. And there was, if you've ever heard of the Inner Harbor seawater desalination, it's proposed to be in Corpus Christi, and there was a study done for it, how much offshore infrastructure for that plant would cost, and the cost was around $264 million, and that goes on top of the facility. So when we draw water in for treatment, we'll end up with 50% of fresh water and 50% of the byproduct of seawater desalination, which is called concentrated brine, because it's really salty. So we end up with a lot of salts that have to go somewhere. And what the cheapest way to dispose of salts is to dump them back into bays and estuaries. But there is also a lot of problems with that, because as we just talked about, bays and estuaries are shallow ecosystems, and the water is not mixing so well. So again, I'm asking you to picture the Texas coast. Remember, we have the barrier island system. Because of the barrier islands, the water in the bays and estuaries cannot mix as fast as the water out in the Gulf, just simply because of the presence of these barrier islands. And so when concentrated brine, highly saline solution, gets disposed of into a bay estuary, remember, it's salty, so it means it's heavy. What do heavy things do in the water? They sink. So concentrated brine in the low mixing areas would sink and prevent oxygen from moving around in the water, and that could create dead zones. So that's a big problem too. Dead zones are those areas without oxygen, where nothing can grow and nothing can live. So one important regulatory gap as Texas is discussing seawater desalination and expansion of this industry is that Texas still doesn't have standards for salinity to make sure that we protect our bays and estuaries. And it falls on the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, because they're responsible for protecting the waters of the state, and coastal waters are the waters of the state. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has not developed standards, and the only bill that was filed last session was House Bill 3728 that would have directed TCEQ to develop those standards. It died in the legislative process. So we are hoping at the Sierra Club to see more progress on protecting water quality next legislative session, including the development of standards for salinity, to make sure that we're doing this seawater desalination responsibly. Because if we're serious about it, we better figure out that we don't harm our aquatic ecosystems, we don't harm our communities, and we don't harm our economy. And there are other also policy solutions that Sierra Club is advancing, including to limit eligibility for state funding for proposals that want to discharge concentrated brine and draw seawater from bays and estuaries because of the harms that I just discussed. And also incentivize somehow these seawater desalination facilities to use the best available science, the Texas-specific study that recommended doing everything 3 miles out. But the whole list of our recommendations is available here in the fact sheet. If you are interested, I'd be happy to chat with you about it as well. So in conclusion, we need to figure out a lot about seawater desalination. Does it have promise? Absolutely. Should we rush it? No, we should not, because we don't have all of our ducks in a row yet. And so we just talked about Proposition 4, right? It's very important to it's very important to direct the funding unlocked by Proposition 4 to the right solutions, to the solutions that we know that work, like fixing leaky pipes. It's very relevant for this area too. Or investing into water conservation, expanding water reuse. These solutions are the most affordable, and they bring immediate benefits to communities. And these decisions where public dollars go are made right now. And if you're interested in something like that, if you would like to stay in the loop of what's happening with Texas water, if you're interested in getting engaged at the legislature or regulatory spaces with Texas Commission on Environmental Quality or Texas Water Development Board, I invite you to join our Water for People in the Environment Committee. You can scan the QR code at our table right here. And we meet monthly. Those are virtual meetings. And if you would like to connect with other people who are also worried about Texas water, that's a place where you would like to, if you would like to be educated about Texas water, that's your place. And whenever a hearing is coming up or important public meeting at TCEQ or Water Development Board is coming up, we'll alert you to that, and we will also provide the talking points so you feel comfortable actually providing your testimony or structuring your comments and presenting your comments at the legislature in those places. And you don't have to be the you don't have to be an expert in water issue. All I need from you is to care about what happens with Texas water, where taxpayer money goes, what solutions we fund. So I'm gonna stick around. If you would like to chat, I'm here and I'm happy to connect. And thank you very much. It's a pleasure to share this evening with you.
Well, did you guys learn anything? Yeah. We're going to have her information on our website too, and we will get it. That way you can follow up about any of the information, ongoing classes, and that kind of thing that are happening. So thank you very much for that information. Thank you for what you do. Dan Barrios, before we close, I want you to come up and just say a word to our people.
Thank you, Jenny. Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing? For those, thank you. For those of you, excuse me, I'm a little tired. For those of you who don't follow me on social media, I have one son. I'm a father of an only child, and I just dropped him off yesterday at college, which means I did not sleep at all last night. I was up all night worrying about him because he starts the rush process tomorrow, but that's a whole nother thing. Y'all, we're within 90 days. I've lost count. What are we at? 80? 70? There we go, before early vote. I've had my nose to the grindstone. We are in it, y'all. We can't wait till October. Every candidate you heard from today, our campaign included, needs you. I know it's hot outside, but we're not going to win it starting the week before voting by knocking on doors. We need them today. We need to knock on doors. Y'all, this is the time. We need every person. If you can't knock on doors, there are phone banking. Our campaign, other campaigns have it. Find a candidate you want to do a little work for, and please do it. If you'd like to learn more about our campaign and want to get involved, a lot of you, if you've been around the Dallas County Democratic Party at all, you all know Julio. Julio, raise your hand. Julio just came on board this week. He is our new field director, so he's doing all the volunteer management and doing all the turf cutting, that kind of stuff. He's full-time with the campaign, and I heard that Saturday is his birthday. We're also block walking Saturday, so please come out, say happy birthday to Julio, join us. But aside from our campaign, y'all, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for everything you're going to do. Please get involved with the campaign. If you aren't already, there's a lot of great campaigns in the room today. Thank you so much. Let's win it.
All right. I think that we have given you a lot of information tonight, and we're going to let you talk amongst yourselves, get some more stuff. We've got, like I said, we've got our signs back there. Orlando, did you bring signs? Orlando's got his signs here. Dan's got signs, and Zach has a lot of signs. So get some signs. It's time to put them in your yard. If anyone has anything else they have to include in this, please get with me and we'll do it next time. How about that? Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been great seeing you. Thank you.